Dark psychology is the study of the human mind when it drifts into its most manipulative, harmful, and morally inverted states. It examines the mental strategies people use to exploit, control, or psychologically damage others. But beneath the academic definitions lies something far more unsettling. A revelation that the darkest parts of human behavior are not always distant, dramatic acts seen in movies. They often exist quietly, disguised as ordinary interactions, subtle emotional games, or silent motivations that hide behind a person's smile. Understanding dark psychology is not about learning to harm others. It is about recognizing the hidden weapons that can be used against you, understanding human vulnerability, and reclaiming personal power. To study darkness is to prevent yourself from being consumed by it. This piece will take you into the unsettling corners of the human mind, the shadowy places where manipulation is crafted, empathy is weaponized, and the boundaries of morality disappear. The human shadow. Why darkness exists in the first place. Every person carries two sides. The self they proudly show the world, and the hidden self that lives within the shadow. Carl Jung described this shadow as the suppressed, unwanted part of the psyche. Anger, insecurity, envy, fear, and impulses society rejects. Most people keep their shadows under control, using morality, empathy, and social rules as restraints. But for some, the shadow becomes a tool, something to bend others to their will. The disturbing truth is that darkness does not always appear as cruelty. Sometimes it shows itself through charm, kindness, or calculated emotional warmth that hides an ulterior motive. Dark psychology begins where the mask meets the shadow. The Dark Triad. The three most dangerous personalities. One of the most disturbing areas of dark psychology revolves around three personality traits known collectively as the Dark Triad. A narcissism, a Machiavellianism, psychopathy. Each is unsettling on its own, but when combined, they create individuals capable of cold, strategic, and deeply manipulative behavior. 1. Narcissism, the hunger for worship. A narcissist is not simply someone who loves themselves. They crave admiration to survive. Their identity depends on how others see them. They need constant validation, and when they don't get it, they may punish, guilt trip, or emotionally devastate the people around them. Their disturbing trait is empathy blindness. They see themselves as the protagonist and everyone else as replaceable supporting characters. 2. Machiavellianism, the master strategist. This trait centers around manipulation, deception, and strategic control. Machiavellians don't react emotionally, they calculate. They observe people like chess pieces, identifying weaknesses, desires, and insecurities to use as leverage. Their disturbing skill is cold rationality. They can smile at you while simultaneously plotting your downfall. 3. Psychopathy, the emotional void. Psychopaths lack emotional depth. No guilt, no remorse, no attachment. They mimic emotions like actors playing a role. They learn what sadness, love, or fear should look like, but they do not feel these things the way others do. Their disturbing power is fearlessness combined with emotional detachment. They can hurt, betray, lie, or destroy without their heart rate changing. Dark psychology often emerges when these traits overlap, creating individuals capable of profound manipulation wrapped in charm and charisma. The art of emotional manipulation. The most unsettling aspect of dark psychology is how ordinary manipulation can be. It rarely begins with obvious evil. It begins with trust. The manipulators who cause the deepest psychological damage don't use violence. They use emotional weapons. Love bombing. One of the most disturbing tactics is love bombing. The manipulator floods the target with affection, attention, and praise. They appear perfect, almost too perfect. The disturbing part is that the affection is not genuine. It is bait. Once trust and emotional dependence are established, the manipulator begins withdrawing the affection, causing the victim to chase the emotional high that once felt so real. Mirroring. This tactic involves copying your values, dreams, likes, and desires to appear like your soulmate or ideal friend. It is not authenticity, it is psychological seduction. The disturbing part is that many people fall for it because humans naturally trust those who seem similar to them. Intermittent reinforcement. This is one of the darkest psychological mechanisms. A manipulator gives affection or approval inconsistently, never enough to satisfy, but never entirely absent. This unpredictability creates addiction, similar to how a gambler becomes hooked on slot machines. The mind becomes trapped in a cycle of craving validation, never realizing that the inconsistency is intentional. The psychology of gaslighting. Gaslighting is one of the most disturbing forms of psychological abuse. Its purpose is simple: to make the victim doubt their own reality. A manipulator using gaslighting will deny things they clearly said or did, twist events to suit their narrative, accuse the victim of being too sensitive, crazy, or overreacting, rewrite history in their favor, make the victim question their memory, perception, and sanity. The disturbing effect is that the victim begins to distrust themselves. Once that happens, the manipulator has total psychological control. Gaslighting is not always loud or aggressive. Sometimes it is quiet, subtle, disguised as concern. You're remembering it wrong. You always exaggerate. You're imagining things. Dark psychology thrives in these subtle destructions of reality. The power of fear and control. Fear is the oldest psychological weapon. It bypasses logic and attacks the emotional brain. Manipulators use fear to create dependency, a fear of abandonment, fear of losing approval, a fear of conflict, a fear of disappointing someone, a fear of loneliness. The disturbing truth is that fear can control a person even without physical threats. Psychological fear is more powerful because it is invisible and difficult to explain to others. The mask of empathy. Fake kindness as a weapon. One of the darkest concepts in psychology is cognitive empathy, the ability to understand what someone feels without actually caring. Many manipulators use this skill to read emotions, not to comfort but to exploit. A toxic person with cognitive empathy might know exactly what compliments will disarm you, what insecurities will break you, what promises will make you stay, what fears will silence you. They study human emotion like a predator studying prey. The sympathy trap. Some individuals weaponize their own suffering to manipulate others. They create stories where they are always the victim. They use pity to gain control. This is one of the most disturbing forms of dark psychology because it hides inside vulnerability. It is manipulation disguised as pain. The slow erosion of identity. The deepest psychological damage doesn't happen suddenly. It happens gradually, through small cuts to self-esteem, repeated doubts, and constant invalidation. Over time, a person begins to lose themselves. The manipulator slowly isolates the victim, undermines their confidence, makes them feel unworthy, makes them question their value, controls how they think, act, and feel. This is not just manipulation, it is psychological conditioning. The disturbing truth is that many victims of dark psychology do not realize they are being controlled until long after the damage is done. The dark psychology of silence. Silence is a powerful psychological weapon. When used by manipulators, it can create confusion, anxiety, and emotional desperation. Silent treatment is not simply needing space. It is a deliberate withdrawal designed to punish, control, or coerce. The disturbing effect is that the victim often ends up apologizing for things they never did, simply to escape the discomfort of being ignored. Silence can be more painful than aggression because the victim is forced to fight an invisible enemy. The psychology of predators. Not all manipulators are emotional. Some are strategic, methodical, and patient. These individuals use social intelligence as a hunting tool. They look for people who are overly empathetic, people who fear conflict, people with low self-esteem, people seeking approval, people who are isolated. Predators are skilled at identifying emotional vulnerability. The disturbing truth is that they often appear kind, attentive, and trustworthy in the beginning. Why people fall for dark psychology. It is easy to judge victims of manipulation, but the truth is that manipulation works because it targets universal human needs. The need for love, the need for connection, the need to feel valued, the need to be understood, the need for belonging. Even the strongest person can be manipulated if someone learns how to trigger their emotional wiring. Dark psychology is effective not because people are weak but because people are human. The most disturbing truth of all. The darkest part of dark psychology is this: manipulators do not always know they are manipulators. Some people repeat behaviors learned in childhood. Some hurt others because they never learned how to handle emotion. Some use control because it is the only way they know to feel safe. Some mimic toxic patterns they witness growing up. And some, the most dangerous, enjoy it. The terrifying reality is that not all darkness is intentional. Some is deeply unconscious. Breaking free from dark psychological control. Freedom begins with awareness. Once you understand the patterns, tactics, and emotional traps, the spell loses its power. Manipulators thrive in confusion. Clarity is their enemy. To break free, trust your intuition. Pay attention to patterns, not promises. Set boundaries without guilt. Distance yourself from people who drain you. Seek support from friends, therapy, or safe spaces. Reclaim your identity piece by piece. Dark psychology loses power when the victim begins to see the truth. Why this knowledge matters. Dark psychology is disturbing because it reveals something uncomfortable. Human minds are capable of both love and destruction. Understanding these darker traits helps you recognize manipulation early, protect your mental health, and maintain your emotional independence. Knowledge does not make you cold, it makes you safe. The human mind is powerful, but when misused, it becomes a weapon. Learning dark psychology is about disarming that weapon and reclaiming your power.